Today's lesson is 9.4 Linear Equations on page 372. So before we get started, let's look through some vocab. We have the word input. So with a formula, we're going to use the perimeter formula of a square. We have P equals 4S. So perimeter equals 4 times the length of the sides. So the input in that case is going to be S, and that's known as the independent variable because it doesn't change. Like if I put 2 in there, that number for S as 2 is going to stay the same no matter what. However, the output or the dependent variable is going to change based on the input. So if I put 2 for the input, 4 times 2 equals 8. Your output would change to 8, or your dependent variable. If I put 3 in there, 4 times 3 equals 12. Your dependent variable, your output, is going to change based off of what this number is, your input or your independent variable. So with that, let's go ahead and work through some of these questions. Or before that, let's look at slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Well, we know m stands for the slope. X and y, x is your input, y is your output, so you can put anything in for x and it's going to change the value of y. And then b is your y-intercept. If I spell this incorrectly, please don't judge me. Intercept. Good, it's spelled correct. Okay, so B is your y-intercept. So that's wherever it's going to pass in on this y-axis. So our first one, y equals 2x minus 5. The x, you're just going to put in those numbers. We typically use -1, 0, and 1 because they're the easiest to use. You can use whatever numbers you would like, though. You could put 4, 5, and 6 if you really wanted to, but it's just not quite as easy because then you're still going to have to find your y-intercept. But we know our y-intercept is our b right there. Our b in this case is not just 5, it's -5. So that is telling me at 0, -5, this is my y-intercept. And let's check it. So when I plug in 0 for x, so 2 times 0 equals 0. 0 take away 5 equals -5. Oh, it works. That's my y-intercept. And when I plot it, or when they plotted it on the line, it's 0, -5. Okay, then -1. That is where you put -1 in for x. So 2 times -1 take away 5. 2 times -1 is -2. -2 take away 5 is -7. So your coordinate, or your order pair, turns into -1, whoopsie, -1, -7, right down there. And then plugging in 1, so 2 times 1 take away 5. 2 times 1 is 2, so 2 take away 5 equals -3. So then you plug it in, 1, -3, and then you just connect all those dots to make this line. Now, to check to make sure our slope is correct, we just go our slope is going to be rise of 2, run of 1. So that means it's going to go up 2 over 1. So up 1, 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And that's another way we can check to make sure we did the math right. If it doesn't work with our slope right here, then your math is not right and you need to recheck it. Okay, so going through some of these. Number 1 on page 365. Bananas were on sale for 52 cents per pound. How much would pounds cost? How much would pounds cost? Okay, so we have to make an equation right there. It's not telling us how many pounds we have, so we're strictly just making the equation right there. So we know that they cost 52 cents per pound. So what we want to find is the cost. So we're going to put a capital C right there for cost. We know it's 52 cents. So I'm going to put 0.52 because 0.52 represents your cents. And then you would times it by the amount of pounds you have. So your formula turns out to be cost equals 0.52 times pound, or C equals 0.52 times pound, or times P. Okay, looking at this one, candy bars cost 75 cents each. What is the cost of X amount of candy bars? Again, our output is going to be cost, because that's going to be the total, equals, we know we are finding out the cost if we buy several candy bars. We don't know the number, so we know the cost of them is 75 cents, so we're going to put 0.75, because that represents 75 cents. And then we're going to put X in for candy bars, because we don't know how many candy bars there are. So it turns into C equals 0.75X. Okay, let's do number 3. Each van holds 9 passengers. How many passengers will X vans hold? Okay, we want to find the total number of passengers. So that's going to be our equals, and we're going to put passengers as P, because it tells us to mark it with P. And then we want to know how many passengers per van. So they say there's 9 passengers per van. We don't know the amount of vans, so it tells us to write X. So P equals 9X. Okay. On this next one, number 4, I want you to pause this video, try to work it out on your own, and then we'll work it out all together. So press pause now. Okay, now that you've worked it out, let's go ahead and check your answer. So each problem was worth 10 points. What was the total number of points T if there were n problems? So the total they want the total number of points, so that's going to be your output. That's going to be everything, and they want that represented by T. Equals how many points per problem. It's worth 10 points. And then we don't know how many problems there were, but it tells us to mark it with n. So it equals T equals 10n. Okay. If you need more help on these, feel free to contact me. Let's go ahead and complete a chart. This chart gives us the numbers you're going to use. Typically, if they don't give you the numbers you're going to use, I recommend using -1, 0, and 1, because they're the easiest. And they're kind of the middle of the graph, so it's easy to make your line then. But this one's not doing that, it's giving you the numbers. So they are giving you the input of 3, 4, 5, and 6. So P equals 4 times S. So we have 4 times 3, because you have to mark it in, the 3 in. We have 4 times 4. We have 4 times 5, and 4 times 6. We just have to work out each of those problems. Well, 4 times 3 we know is 12, so P equals 12. 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 5 is 20, and 4 times 6 is 24. So you strictly just do the math. Again, even like over here, when it gives you the line intercept or slope intercept form of y equals mx plus b, m equals -1, and b, your y-intercept, equals 4, you still just plug in the number. So -1, I'm going to do -3 and 0 for you guys. So -1 times 3 plus 4 times -3. Ooh. So -1 times -3, negative makes a positive. So we have 3 plus 4. Then 3 plus 4 equals 7. So right there, it equals 7. We have -1 times 0 plus 4. Well, -1, because I just moved 0 into that x spot. -1 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 4 equals 4. Okay. Now I want you to pause the videos and I want you to come up with -2 and -1's answers. So pause the video at this time. Okay. When you unpause the video, the answer you should have received is 6 and 5 from plugging in these answers into your equation. Okay, let's see what your assignment. So, to start us off, I want you guys to do 1 through 14 today.